Looks like Team 1 is about the same people. Awesome. Switch it out to cheat death this time. Gonna be interesting. Tags on Affliction. We got Fed. We got ourselves Unlucky. Then we got ourselves Kib over as a Night Elf versus Team 2. We got ourselves Aerodori as, ooh, Assassination Rogue. I like it. We got Phoenix as an Alliance. Greg as a Horde. We did it. Boys, it's here. It's here. Cross Faction is finally in PvP. I mean, it's been there for rating. It's been there for duels. I mean, 2v2, 3v3, RBG. It's been there for raids, dungeons, but it's finally here in the best game mode of World of Warcraft ever seen. The 5v5 1v1 dueling arena. Look at that, the Alliance and Horde banding together as one team. This is what I wanted to see, boys. Zip is going to be first up versus Kib. Zip last week has just melted, boys, with that Night Fae Assassination. Are we going to see the same burst out of here? Kib most likely expects it. It's going to be immediately Zip trying to see if he can zip out of there. As the Night Fae, going to be Kib trying to see if he can punish him with a bit of Void Bolts, letting the dots roll on him, letting DPs do work. Kib is looking to get himself the full Necrolord burst as a Shadow Priest, as he's going to try to see if he can make sure he got himself shields. Is that going to be Megalomania for him? Looks like it was just a normal Void Eruption instant cast. Sab by Zip. It looks like he doesn't have any more dots on him. Going to be a stun by Kib. Trying to see if he can summon up the extra dots and the extra pet versus Zip. Zip trying to get some calm points. I think he's trying to have himself a big go. Cloak of Shadows versus Kib. Greater Fade out of Kib. Potentially could see if he might be able to burst him down through Disperse. Probably going to be dispersed out of Kib. Trying to see if he can surround this Night Fae burst. Going to Zip with the Vendetta. Kib does not seem dispersed long at all, but looks like the dots have been absorbed inside of that Disperse. Looks like Kib was not able to get any health out of that Vendetta, out of that Sepsis, but he was able to at least counteract it. His health didn't move anywhere though, so potential Zip could use the remnants of the Vendetta to continue the burst, continue the sustain, continue the pressure versus the Shadow Priest. Or can the Shadow Priest manipulate the situation to turn around into their favor? Still holding up to defensives. Looks like they're going to go for a bit of a PI with a Vampiric Embrace. Trying to go use offensives in order to stay aggressive versus Zap. Going to be a blinder to Kib. Could trick it if he wants to. Does he have line aside of Zip? Looks like the Rogue is going to be allowed to drive back into stealth. Kib most likely wait, looking for the eyes. Just like, you know, maybe I could pick up some eyes, use them at cooldowns, and move my trinket a little bit more selectively. Not really take the bait out of a Rogue CC immediately. The eyes have both been used up. It looks like it's just really just a game where we gotta have to wait until Zip decides he wants to stay in, open up and stay in there longer than possible. Does have a Cloak of Shadows coming back up. If Kib can maybe go for more damage, he might be able to make summon work out of this. Potentially, it's going to get a stun with a fear onto Zip, trying to see if he can get some dots in it with a Void Eruption. If Zap tries to see if he gets aggressive, he could eat one of the Solar Bolts. Does that have Cloak of Shadows in order to try to avoid them as best as he can? Going to be the Shadow join in. Kib is going to have to disperse this. Is going to disperse all this burst out of Zip. Zip, is he going to be able to continue this pressure right after? Looks like Kib survived it, but the Vendetta is still on him. Zip does not want to stick around long enough. Looks like Kib trying to see if he might be able to Shadow Crush him around the corner. Zip trying to see if he can maybe escape combat. Is going to get a cheap shot versus Kib. And Kib with the Vampiric Embrace PI, trying to see if he might be able to counteract a lot of damage. Zip trying to go for a kidney shot, but it's going to be very, very hard. The Shadow Feet is going to be on the Rogue. He's not going to be enough to keep him in combat, though. Kib is going to have to, I think, wait out until the Crippling Poison is off him. Evasion is up for the Rogue, trying to see if he can avoid some of the physical damage. Stunner to Zip does have a trinket for it. That's going to be still, I think, dots on the Zip either way. Blinder to Kib, does he trinket it to try to see if he can take down Zip? I don't think he wants to. Or maybe he wants to, but I don't think he's gonna. Maybe the shield falls off of Zip. He does have dots, does die behind the pillar. Maybe that's where Kib can push up. Cheap shot onto Kib with a kidney shot. Zip trying to go for big Vendetta. That's going to be a disperse and try to counter that. Sepsis does still take a lot of damage. Kib still under a bit of pressure. Needs to go for CC versus Rogue. Going to be a Void Eruption. Discount the Rogue. Going to be a Fear. Does not get caught by Void Eruptions, but could still potentially be dots versus Zip. Does not have a Vanish anymore. So this is where Zip committed everything he needs in order to try to see if he can fight Kib. Does he have enough here? Going to be a somebody threw down a Resident Trinket. I think it may have been the Shadow Priest. Smoke Bomb, the only thing keeps Kib and Zip Zap away from one another. Dots catch a reset for a second with a Zap and a Kib, but the Dot's still burning on him. Zip is going to have the Dots getting him out. Kib does let the Rupture take him out. Going to be a cheat death versus Zip. It looks like Zip is just done for the game. He knows, he realized that it happened. He realized he went for the cheese, and the cheese did not quite pay off, as Kib does end up killing him. 6 minutes into the duel, 7% dampener. I believe in you, Shadow Priest. That one he didn't win. He barely won that one, because I feel like with the Rogue, as long as you play it super clean, there's no way you could lose that one. But Kib, he has Disperse. It does hard counter a lot of the Assassination bursts. At fastest as Assassination, you may be able to get Vendetta up at a 1.5 minute CD, but there's always a disperse ready for it. So he is a hard counter class. Gonna be Kasha. I'm gonna call it Kasha. Is that fine? Kasha versus Kib. Outlaw Rogue going for a full kid shot. I think with a couch to follow. Gonna be Kib potentially under a ton of pressure. Gonna be a full PI. Trying to go for a water eruption. Gonna be a trick it out of the Rogue with a pet join in. Kasha might have to go for a cloak of shadows here. It's gonna be a horrified red out. It's gonna be a horrified breaking. It's gonna have to burn a cloak of shadows at some point. Does go for a sipping cup. I think is a Kyrian. Cloak of Shadows coming out. Kib better have a defensive ready for him. Get a shot by the Rogue. Does he go for any kind of defenses? Does Kasha play that full cooldown reduction out of the Rogue? Or does it play for the between the eyes Rogue? That is my question. Kib try to see if he can stay aggressive versus Kasha. Try to stay on him as best as possible. Kasha is still able to land auto attacks through Kib. That at least keeps Kasha out in combat unless they try to go for a reset. Unless they try to turn off the auto attacks, they're just going to keep themselves in combat. If anything, I guess they do keep Kib slowed. So that is an advantage for the Rogue either way. It looks like Kib is going to have to back up out of it. Hopefully Blizzard at some point will be able to fix the whole auto attacker through the pillar type of deal. I know that Outlaw got that noodle arms, right? They got that extra reach, but like reach it through a pillar, reach to the permanent object? I don't think it's a good idea. Gonna be a horror effect. As trying to go for a kidney shot. Looks like double horrified by Kib. He was able to avoid a lot of the kidney shot burst. A lot of the kidney shot go by the Rogue. It looks like Kai'Sa tried to see if he can go for a bit of a reset. Shadow Crash, I don't know if it has hit him. They do have some kind of a buff from Kyrian. I'm not really sure. I think they got the biggest sipping cup to give himself a bigger heal. Gonna be a stun with a pet joining in. Kib getting interrupted. Needs to get the Rogue out in the open so that the pet can actually just do some damage to him. Looks like it is gonna be exactly what's gonna happen. Kib trying to see if it might be survive this burst. Is gonna be gouged, but it looks like the shade is on Kai'Sa. It is doing quite a bit of damage. Is that gonna be enough? It is not enough. That is gonna be a sipping cup join in. They may just let it swinging around just say hello. As Kai'Sa is about to catch himself a reset. Kib trying to go for a bit of a heal. Gonna be Kai'Sa showing the card and playing themselves out in the open. They're a little too early. As Kib is gonna hit him with a Shadow Ward death. Erupted it onto the Rogue's face, consuming him and taking him down into the void, I guess. You don't really get to go into the afterlife or Shadowlands 2. Kib might be under a ton of pressure. Gonna be Cracker up next with a reflect. Doesn't reflect the stunner back to himself. Might have to for disperse. Kib is under a ton of pressure. Cracker has to pop this Necrolord burst his head. It's just rampaging over Kib with that recklessness fear. He's gonna be able to circle out of it. Kib trying to see if he can keep himself alive with a PI. As well as a impending victory. It is not impending victory. It is Vampiric Base. I'm so bad at my words. I'm so bad at my abilities names. Gonna be VT up and running. Does himself a little bit of a transfusion. Trying to see if he can use that offensive in order to turn it into heal. Maybe get a fear and horror effect onto the Cracker. Looks like he was able to avoid it for just a second. Kib is still somehow in the game. But looks like Cracker is gonna be able to slam him down with feed. Coming up next with Cracker, go for the trick and quick pummel versus the Demon Hunter is gonna hit him with a fear. Demon Hunter does still hold on to a trinket. Cracker is gonna bail out of that completely. Try to see if he might be able to get himself a full Fleshka shield rolling as he had the bar to hell dissipate at the last second. Definitely is gonna have to go for that enrage regeneration really early on. Definitely needs to get himself that impending victory as soon as possible. Zerk Rage is not available in order to break out of the imprison. It looks like Feed is just gonna go for a bit behind the pillar. Cracker does use all that rage in order to give himself as much self-healing as possible. Feed just flying up in the air is gonna have a demon spawning in for him, so at least he'll have someone to kill and gain a lot of health from. Cracker, be very, very careful with the demon. That is also going to debuff Cracker and make him do less damage as well. Cracker tried to go for, looks like a proc of Recklessness, but is unable to really maximize any value from it. Unless he got a heal right now, I think it might be over his feet. I think might be able to take him. Cracker tried to get himself a little bit of resources while the storm is on Demon Hunter for a moment. It's going to be Demon Hunter chasing after him. Has all the damage, all the pressure versus Cracker. Unless this warrior gets some kind of a heal right now. Looks like he does get himself a heal last second. 32% dampening. Does get a charge to see if any more healing from it. Looks like the Demon Hunter is going to be able to keep him warm and burn down over time. The Demon Hunter just had to put up the heat a little bit with Immolation Aura and just give Cracker a bit of a hug and just hold on to him. Just hug him and just let the moment happen. Eventually, Cracker, unless he got himself a big heal, unless he got cooldowns, there's not much you could really do, especially at 35% dampening. Phoenix trying to see if he can catch up to Feed. Alliance versus Alliance joining this duel. Gonna be Feed going for the quick prison. Trying to see if he can dip out of there. Definitely needs to get some kind of a proc versus Phoenix. Or Phoenix. I want to call it Phoenix for some reason. Like Fennec Fox. But I think it is Phoenix. I think it is Phoenix. I think it'd be, I'm being silly. Call you Phoenix. Gonna be a stun onto Phoenix. Try to see if I might be able to do it. Ava Maria is a real name, but we're gonna go with the name Phoenix. But it is Ava Maria on their Paladin. Or maybe I could do Ava Maria. Maybe I could somehow convince my brain that, hey, use their name right, you dummy. Because my brain doesn't really do well with that. I'm really bad with names. Gonna be interrupt no to Phoenix. Might be in big trouble. Gonna be the flash gun. I just called the Phoenix. Gonna be wings up and running as Phoenix trying to see if they can maybe survive it. Gonna be the bubble as Feed was able to force out a lot of cooldowns out of the Paladin. The Paladin trying to see if he can survive and recuperate a lot of that survivability. Looks like they didn't have real wings. That was just a proc wings. Phoenix still under ton of pressure. Could be in big trouble. Stone has a chicken for him, but looks like Feed does have the final slice at the end there. With Arrow Dre trying to see if it might will take him down. Gonna be the team that are flying up in the air. Got himself that upper advantage as they're up above the Rogue. Unless they use maybe immunity here, they might be in big trouble. Feed needs that Necrolord demon to proc. Try to see if he can stay aggressive with the Rogue. Gonna be the Rogue going for that blind, but looks like the Kevin Slime is still on the Rogue, I think. Feed is gonna have to trick it out of the Sepsis. That's gonna be big burst. That's some immunity. Who's just gonna immune that Sepsis? That is a Vendetta and a Sepsis. With the stun on Red right after, does have a trigger for it. Feed needs to use whatever defenses or whatever offenses he's got in order to try to see if he can deal with the Rogue. Both of them are super low. The Rogue does go for a disarm with a Shadow Meld, with a evasion. It looks like Feed is going to try to see if he can back up out of it. Does not want to give the Rogue an opportunity to catch a reset whatsoever. Definitely needs to go for a stun on Rogue as soon as possible. Try to see if he can get the demon to proc. The demons are just not procking whatsoever. 10 seconds, he can fly up in the air again. If you can keep the Rogue out in the open, he might be okay. The Kevin Slime is continuing to spit at him though. So the Kevin Slime is actually doing work. Feed, unless you get another stun, I think it might be over. He does have a trinket, but the next stun and next dodge by the Rogue could be really bad. Flying up in the air, trying to see if he might be able to force out a demon. That is going to be 2 free hits on Rodri. Rodori better stay behind the pillar not to get pelted from above. Does have a blur back up, does have a metamorphosis. So Feed can actually make a play. Stun to Rodori, doesn't have anything. Going to be the demon spawn again, and it's going to be explosive. And Rodori has just a few dots on it. Feed just hits him from so far away. With that fell rush, doesn't even move him. And looks like Feed does take a 3-0. As the man does swoop in out of nowhere, just taking the kill, barely surviving. The Kevin bro is actually a bro. Kevin lasted there for so long. Was Kevin just swapping over and over and over? Was he popping off back to back?